Well, hello everyone. It's an honor for me to be here with you today. I want to share some information about my new book. It's called Reflect, Awaken to the Wisdom of the Here and Now. And this is a very different kind of book about mindfulness. I am now taking the I out of the word mindfulness. And if you go to our Facebook page where we're really going to be a community, and I invite you very much to come there and to see that, taking the me, the my, the mine, that focus of mindfulness that can make us kind of almost like little mindfulness machines, right? Less stressed out. Oh, I'm noticing things here and now. But actually, there's a much deeper way to experience mindfulness that can change profoundly how you think and experience things. And by the way, I just want to, it's a beautiful rainy day here in Portland, and I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are. We get used to it, so we have to have acceptance for that rainy day. And mindfulness also is about really facing whatever is in your life and seeing it, but seeing it from multiple dimensions, not a one-dimensional way. And that's what Reflect can help anyone do. So I have a cheat sheet in front of me, and this cheat sheet are some notes that I wrote on a sheet of paper here that's on my computer. So I might refer to that here. And one of my little notes here says having an evolved mindfulness for the 21st century. And what I'm talking about there is how we are so distracted all the time. Sometimes I like to hyphenate that word. Think about it: distracted, lacking traction. And we kind of lose ourselves in the busyness of the day. It drones on and on with distraction, grabbing our precious attention in so many different ways. Technology can do that, but also our mind can just kind of speed up, and we get more and more splintered in our ability to focus and attend to things. I recently did a workshop at a beautiful location, 1440 Multiversity. It's in Scotts Valley, California. Beautiful setting. And one of the ladies in that group said something very profound. She said that the second night of our workshop, for the first time in months, she sat down and read a book. She had kind of lost that ability. Her mind was so used to multitasking and moving on from one thing to another that she had lost the capability to do something that was very important for her, which was to sit and just read. It quieted her, it made her feel safe, it comforted her. And so she was able to regain that ability, and we did a lot of reflection types of practices in that workshop. So being in this 21st century, we can't often, if things are moving fast, you can't often just have the time just to pause and sit in a sitting meditation for an hour or longer, or go to a retreat even, like we did at 1440, but to go to a retreat where maybe you'll sit for hours in some of these intensive retreats. Now, in my time sitting as a monk in a Theravada monastery with some wonderful Burmese monks, although it was in this country, I have had the experience of bringing together mindfulness practice, deep sitting, watching the mind practice, with also working with clients as a psychotherapist, and starting to understand that we can accelerate the process of going inward and cutting through old toxic thought patterns if you know how to do it. And that's having the key, right, to helping people see things in a new way. And I can tell you that I've worked with clients who helping them do some of these inward reflective practices, it almost like shattered old belief systems, and they were able to see things in a just totally different, a fresh new way. Wouldn't that be nice if we could just all instantly snap our fingers and do that? Well, it didn't work. That's why we call it a practice, right? And Reflect is a unique human ability to look inward. You're actually using, I'm calling it the here and now module of the brain. It's this prefrontal cortex right here behind the eyebrow ridge in the inner part of the brain. While I don't talk about it in this book, Reflect, this book is really a practice book. It's daily meditations, ways of just pausing throughout the day, doing a short reading, and then thinking about that And I have some questions that help people reflect more deeply on the reading, and even a practice. And there's room for journaling if you want to journal. But the idea here is that it really is very much closer to the original meaning of mindfulness. The Sanskrit word sati, which is S-A-T-I, for those of you who are interested in that, but sati in its original meaning meant self-recollection, self-remembrance, bringing back the lost parts of ourselves. And there are so many different ways to think about bringing back the lost parts, but to really bring that back, we have to pause, and we have to reflect inwardly and find out what is beyond the nature of these thoughts. What is the true nature of mind? How can we find peace? How can we connect with others? And that ultimately is this practice of reflect. That going through this practice, and I suggest just taking one reading for an entire day and just pausing whenever you happen to think of it and reflecting on it, that can shift how your brain is wired and change how you think and behave in the future. Most importantly, it will help you connect to others. And that's a big part of this. I really suggest that people find a reflect partner or a reflect buddy, somebody who they can do this practice with, or create a group and do this. And it can be pretty incredible in terms of seeing how that can open up your view of things. And I'm looking at my little notes here, and the subtitle means awaken. The subtitle of the book is Awaken to the Wisdom of the Here and Now. What does that mean, awaken it? What it means is that you're the one doing it. Nobody's there doing it for you. It's like, here's a key. You can take this key now. You can unlock this door and see what is in that threshold, over that threshold. This is very much along what the Buddha said on his deathbed, when the people who had been around him, his advisors and others, said, well, how can we want to carry your work forward? How can we do that? And the Buddha said, very simply, rather than trying to codify things and make things all complicated, which of course it did happen, but the Buddha did say, light or be a lamp unto yourself. In other words, light your own inner pathway. And we all have that capability. The word guru is a great word for that. It's a, it's a word that means dispeller of darkness or bringer of light. And a lot of people look for gurus out in the world, right? And follow them. And of course, it's great to have a good teacher. I'm all for that. And I've been very fortunate to have had some very helpful teachers on the path. But ultimately, I think there's this other word that's very fascinating in Sanskrit. It's the Upaguru principle. And the Upaguru is the guru within, the light bringer within. And that's what this book is about. That's what Reflect is about, is reflect, awaken, lighten that inner guru, and find your own path through these practices. It can be, I think it's a very invigorating path for our lives, to reinvigorate us. There's so much pressure to just see things in one narrow view, the ego narrow point of view, I call it. And how can we broaden that out? How can we start to see things, see our relationships in a fresh way, see our understand love and loving kindness and compassion in a completely different way? Instead of focusing on the victim side, focusing on how I was abused, right? And I'm not condoning that, misabuse. Even the Buddha, when somebody tried to verbally abuse him, he said, no, he said, I refuse to take this. This is yours. And so we need to know how to not accept it, but we also need to know to understand suffering and the roots of suffering. That's a very important part of mindfulness that is not always explored in depth. And so helping us look at the roots, causes of our own suffering, it's like pulling out weeds. It allows us to go into the garden, right? If you want to cultivate a nice garden of the mind, you need to start pulling some weeds and get out there and get your hands a little dirty doing that. So I look forward to exploring those future chapters with you very soon. Thank you.